Good morning, October 30th, 2024. It's time to wake up with AI. Here with George and Nico. How you fellas doing today?
Doing
Doing
great.
good. Yeah, doing good. Super excited. Um, I always wake up now curious to what this 30 minutes is going to bring and how it's going to impact my life.
That's a good place to be.
Yeah, catching up to some news this morning uh from some of the big tech sector people uh and some really interesting news. It's a lot of future now. We've kind of moved a little bit away from the present and have kind of embarked on the future. So folks, it's getting to a point where if you're going to start asking me about AI stuff, you're going to start hearing answers that are 3 to 6 months from now, not stuff today. Or like I'm sure most people have noticed, and I don't know whether or not I apologize. I think you guys would probably be a better character judge of character for this than anyone else. But um, yeah, I'm not. I'm sorry, not sorry that I'm not your
Mm,
AI tool guy. Right. Like I'm a little
mm,
too in the weeds trying to understand what's happening under the hood of all of that
yeah.
than like the person that's and you guys know how it is. Like I get too much leverage out of what's already there, right? There's like, out of three tools I get all the leverage I need. So it's really it throws me for a loop when somebody like George is a different story. Like he's got a sick AI app that he uses for presentations. He's got sick AI apps that he uses for organizations. Chris has sick AI apps that he uses for organizing stuff and for putting stuff content together. Different story. I'm not a content creator, so like that's why you ask those guys.
Yeah.
I'm,
Yeah. And there's plenty of people that you can watch for that. What I like, Nico, is I do like the under the hood stuff. I do like the let me ask it questions that most maybe aren't asking it. And like I like the future crystal ball focus because I think while a lot of what we talk about here is like adoption and skills, there has to be a level of but like what's coming.
yeah,
I mean, listen, when we drive down the road, we don't look at our front bumper. We look at the horizon, right? And so when I think about this show and I think about you and the part that you play in the Slack channel that keeps coming and coming, it's like, oh, there's the horizon. Like let's look where we're going. And so I love that part.
Man, that's such a good analogy. Like,
I
because
do what
it
I can,
really is.
sometimes,
brother. I do what I
It
can.
sometimes
really
we
is.
look down and check the speedometer.
Yep.
Like, how fast are we going right now?
But
Like
briefly,
right now,
yeah,
right?
but
Yeah.
if you keep looking at the speedometer, you're gonna wreck.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
If you're worried about your speed versus your direction, then you jacked up. I'm just gonna say it.
Well, I think that's the point of, and hopefully that's why we can deliver some good value and content is like most of the time you should be looking out front, but occasionally we're looking in the rear view, we're looking down at the speedometer, whatever's telling us what's going on right now to confirm what's going on right now. And that's where I think like this balance needs to be played, especially after what I saw last night, Salesforce's thing, right?
Yep.
Um, it's just it's for most of the people I interact with, and this is where there's like a huge disconnect between the SaaS and tech and then like everybody else, right? And if I could just like this example that they showed last night where it's like, all right, agents are here, like everybody, like so easy to make them, and then they show this website, like this is what you do. It's not a chat, it's not a chat bot, it's an agent.
Yep.
Nobody's gonna know that. It looks exactly like a chatbot that we're used
Right.
to. And how many people have you talked to who are like, don't touch me with a chatbot? Like, I don't want anything to do with chat, right? Like, I haven't had any good experiences. So it's like another situation where we're trying to deliver something awesome and new,
Mm-hmm.
and there's baggage to unpack because the thing that you want it to look exactly like a lot of people don't like at all.
Hmm.
And like even though like that container that it's in, which there really isn't any other way to do the use case because it was really cool. It's like start talking to the start talking to the agent, and by the end, you've got like applications for university filled out and a scheduled intro session, like
Hmm.
all the things that you would have normally just gotten links to and had to go do yourself, like we're done,
Yeah,
right? But I still gotta click that chat icon and like go
and make
down
the
it,
request.
right? And that's the part where like, hey, here's great tools, right? So I think that's where it's gonna be this balance between what could be and what is, and like understanding that what is a lot of freaking baggage about how this stuff is supposed to help us, and has really gotten in the way for so many people.
Yeah, and if you guys aren't privy to what Chris is talking about, Mark Benioff, uh, master of attempting to be disastrous to the to the industry, uh, announced and did the Salesforce sales farce announcement yesterday for Agent Farce, and so Agent Farce is the same thing as Breeze for HubSpot. It attempts to be the same thing that is, and it's interesting to me. Hats off to Dharmesh. So anybody that's paying attention to the game, HubSpot beat Salesforce to market first time in my uh, career
Yep.
working with HubSpot.
Yep.
I don't know if that's overall. If it was overall, it absolutely should have been shouted from the rooftops. But hopefully other marketing mags will do that justice. Um, to to Chris's point, if you're following any of the mainstream people that are talking about news, talking about what's coming, talking about what's out and what's changing, you will definitely know that the tide has changed and the stories have gone from talking about what's possible and I mean it's still about what's possible, but it's gone from talking about application and how we're going to embed this in our everyday lives to being more about, okay, how much disruption is this going to cause? What is this going to do to the job market? What is this going to do to future way of life, future way of living? It's finally, it's at the point. I shouldn't even say finally. It should have been here, a year ago. We should have been having these discussions, but we never do, right? We never really worry about the Earth getting destroyed until we can actually see the comet breaking through the atmosphere, right? And then we start worrying about it when it's
That's
seven
how
minutes
most
away.
movies go. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, even when you talk to Claude about this kind of stuff, it tends to find that pattern real. I think one of the most interesting things, if you talk to Claude and have open conversations with it, is you have to realize, you always have to keep in mind, it knows all the things. It knows all the things that you're thinking of going to Google. So one of the really awesome things that I've been doing lately is telling it, hey, just look across human history and see if you can find a pattern of this, that, or the other thing. Because it can. It can do that in less than a minute. It can do it in less than 30 seconds. And that's why
But
I say it's definitely the smartest thing around, because I don't know a historian who could just straight out the gate be 100% positive, 100% accurate. Yeah, definitely there's a pattern of that happens here. I'm pretty sure they'd have to crack a couple books at least.
see, but
Right.
you have to come to that understanding and you have to have that open mindset though. Like, and that's not the skill that pays the bills, but like an open mind and a level of curiosity
Mhm.
and being able to even leverage the right questioning.
Mhm.
Like,
Yep.
one of my biggest worries is like people will have a hard time getting there, right? Because you have to remember, we're coming off of the system that built manufacturing workers.
Mhm.
We're coming off of the retain enough information long enough to take a test and then forget it.
Right.
Uh, these are not the skills that you're looking for, right? In the
No.
best Jedi arm wave that I can give you this morning. And so like you say it because it's native to you. You're doing it because it's who you are. But like in the future, these are the things that people will need to make themselves into, or
Hmm.
or not.
Yeah.
But I don't like to think about the or not. I like to think about what's the best case scenario for the humans to be able to leverage the most to provide more. Anyway,
So I'm sure, I'm sure people are thinking, okay, well, that's not news. That doesn't translate. I didn't learn anything new. What you are going to learn about and why all of this is important and why I bring any of this up is to understand that, we've been talking about it. It's not going to stop. At what rate is it going to continue? There's been obviously all the time. I think yesterday or day before, Elon Musk was doing a webcast talk, if you will, at a conference. I'm watching so much of this stuff; it's pretty difficult for me to remember all the names of. So I will post the links in our repository, and we'll try to get that up so you guys can take a look at it. So asking Elon, where do you think the progress of this stuff is going? And Elon's response was, well, essentially at this point, and again, think about where we are with O1 preview compared to GPT-3. Okay. Elon's answer was, well, we're basically doing 10x per year. So at 10x per year, 4 years from now, we are 10,000x ahead of where we are now in terms of like intelligence level on the model. Right. Which is why I say like GPT-7 is already probably solving things that we cannot figure out. Not like crazy high level stuff, but probably solving things like whatever it might be, whatever the lowest level of unsolvable stuff is, right? So that translates to SoftBank, that was at the international conference for AI and tech investment. Several months ago, Sam Altman said, and everybody laughed at, the fact that it would take about $7 trillion as a group investment in order to get AI to a point where it would be super intelligent. I want to say it was the CEO for SoftBank, made the statement and said, given where we are and given the rate of progress, the soft cap for getting there would be nearly $9 trillion. And he said that was being conservative.
I
And
mean,
that's just investment. That's not 9 trillion in like anything other than building infrastructure and investing in semiconductors and chips and graphics cards and compute and electricity. Because they've done the math and they're like, look, the amount of power here, I'm going to finish this and then I'll cap it off. The amount of power that we're going to need for this stuff, just for one digital super intelligent model, will take more power than the entire United States grid. Currently, we're using enough electricity for one model, for the highest capable model. We're using enough electricity to power one. I want to say, I'll go back and double check this number. I don't want to be wrong. I want to say it's something like close to 10,000 homes for the entire year is like 1 hour of processing power for O1 preview.
see, and I
Like
don't think people think about that side of it. But
one little sprinkles on the cake. We're not at quantum computing yet.
yeah, and which it's funny because this conversation, I go back to one of the interviews you shared where, um, is it Eric Schmidt?
Yeah.
Yeah, Eric Schmidt, and he was talking about how he loves Australia because Australia would be like a dope place because of like energy and windmills and like just the way that it would be a great and so to kind of tie things together of like the amount of power we just don't think about that, right? We're
Nope.
at the point that we're at with most humans. We're like, oh, cool tool. Let me go ahead and do some chat GPT in today. And we're like, uh, and then meanwhile, we're like, hey, turn the light off,
Yep.
close the refrigerator, burn electricity. But we're like, let's GPT it. And we're not thinking about that.
And what have I told you a couple times? It's funny.
I got in trouble. Are you talking about when I got in trouble? Because I
I
wanted to
wish,
go GBT something and you're like, just do it in Excel. Is that what you're talking about? Are
yeah,
you
I
letting the
wish.
listeners know I got in
I,
trouble?
well, look, it's illustrative, right? So, and it's educational. I wish you guys could be in on the behind the scenes tutorials calls that we do and teaching each other stuff. At one point, I was working with George and we were doing something together, and he was just like, "Oh yeah, I'll just take this and I'll give it to GPT and I'll have it do." And I was like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa! What you were trying to do is just put data in one
No,
column and
no.
then
It
add
was
something
more
to."
like, no, no. That's more what it was like. Let's be honest.
So you were halfway through hitting the prompt, and I was like, "Oh my god, stop him!" Um, yeah, come on, guys, come on. Just because it can doesn't mean you should,
Yeah.
right? With great power comes great responsibility. So
Uh,
understanding that this thing is super powerful, right? But if it's a trivial task that's gonna take you 30 seconds, don't save the 20. The cost difference between the two is insane. It costs almost not like pennies on the dollar for you to use Excel or Sheets and do that formulaic thing. I'm talking to the listeners.
yeah. Yeah.
Or it
Good.
could cost, I don't know, an entire home worth of electricity for a year for you to ask GPT to do it. Right? I'm not talking like people have to get away from token cost. Token cost is
Yeah.
one thing, but it's trivial by comparison to the natural resource cost. And yes, one day, even already, Claude's already admitted it. The models are are going to start getting, and they already are. They're getting more efficient. We're getting more out of less,
Which
and
is
it's
good.
that's going to continue. Yeah, but it's still going to take about, sadly, it's still going to take about 4 to 5 years until we get some real like juice from the squeeze on efficiency.
So in like
So
4 to 5 years, I know I don't have to worry about Nico yelling at me.
Yeah.
yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
I'll let it
Sweet.
go. I'll let
There's
it
light
go.
at
Sorry to
the end
tell
of
you,
the
brother.
tunnel.
I don't know that message is ever landing the way that you want it. Like, because I've heard the
No,
same
I
stuff
know, I know.
about Google search, like at these data center conferences, like one Google search equals like one light bulb,
See,
right?
but like, okay,
Nobody
that's
thinks
that's the
about
thing
that.
is like that one, that's not so bad, right? But
Well, the
a
difference is
whole
I
home
don't
of
know that it's
electricity is like
I
ridiculous.
don't know that it's only going to take me 30 seconds in Excel, or I don't know how to do it in that 30 seconds,
Yeah,
right? That's where the
yeah.
balance between, like, at this point, we just start trusting that this is the place I go to do things.
And actually, when I think about this, is it your guys' thoughts? Is it irresponsible of Google? Every time you do a search now, it gives you the generative response, which means that it's using Gemini and
More than
doing
a
a
light bulb.
generative query, right?
More than a light bulb at that
It's a
point.
light
Now all of a
bulb
sudden
plus a
search
house,
became
right?
more expensive. Yeah. That's interesting.
So now,
Think about
like,
that.
so that's yeah. Have we are we trivializing? Look, the Industrial Revolution is what put us in the place we are currently with climate. Are we once again about to trivialize natural resource in the name of doing things faster?
Mm.
Man, yeah, that's another show probably, but
Yeah,
I'd
yeah,
say
yeah.
like
I
there's an
feel like
element.
that's
Sometimes
a
the news
deeper
is bigger than you
that's a
think.
that's a deeper
Well,
conversation.
it's
That's a problem, right? And we should probably solve that problem at some point. But go ahead, Chris.
well, I think that's where it's. I'm sure some minds out there, uh, like especially like the ones that are pushing all this stuff forward, like as quickly as possible. And if you're coming at this from a place of abundance, like the faster we go, will we be faster to innovate our way out of this problem, right? Like
Yeah,
especially if AI is 10x, is 10,000x better, like has it solved climate change
right.
problem for us at that point,
Oh, so
right?
here's an interesting bit to that, and I just only because I keep hearing this same thing being put forward. Just a reminder that Claude also kind of gave me while we were talking about it. Uh, we have to change the climate, not Claude, not
Mm,
GPT. It will give us the answer, just like any guru can give you the answer on how to fix your life, on how to be better,
yeah.
on how to do what you need to do. But you need to do what you need to do. So while I look forward to those problems getting solved, I think we are absolutely going to solve medical issues. We're absolutely going to solve like things that are tangible that we actually that a small group of humans can affect and grow into something greater. Will we solve climate change? I don't know.
I
You
love that
have
you're
to,
talking. I love that you're talking about solving, though. I really do.
yeah,
The fact that you're talking about solving and we're talking about AI and we're talking about problems because, hey, folks, today's AI skill that pays the bill is AI facilitated problem solving so that you can track challenges and attack challenges with speed and precision. Listen, in business, challenges pop up every day from project delays to customer complaints, and the key to tackling them effectively is having the right insights at the right time. By the way, we're talking about business in this segment, but as you can tell, it is much larger, climate control and all those things. But this is where AI shines, turning complex data into clear, actionable solutions so you can problem solve faster and with more precision. Imagine you're faced with a sudden dip in customer satisfaction. Instead of combing through endless reports to find the cause, AI steps in to analyze customer feedback, pinpoint patterns, and flag the specific pain points that you're feeling. Within minutes, you've got the insights you need to address the root issue, not just the symptoms. And here's the power of AI facilitated problem solving. It doesn't just give you data, it connects the dots using predictive insights and real time analysis to show you the best path forward. But like Nico just said, us humans are going to have to take action. Maybe you're trying to cut costs in your supply chain, but aren't sure where to start. AI can break down the processes, highlighting inefficiencies and even suggesting areas where automation could have resources. In a world where every second counts, AI lets you see the big picture and the finer details, helping you find solutions that are practical and effective. The best part, AI adapts. Let's hit the highlights. Data driven analysis. AI cuts through complex data, identifying patterns and root causes so you can tackle the real issues faster. Predictive insights for proactive solutions. AI forecasts potential problems before they escalate, helping you stay ahead of challenges rather than reacting to them. And clear, actionable information. AI presents information in a way that's easy to understand, making your decision quicker and more confident. And that's the skill, the AI skill that pays the bills. I need to go GPT how to actually be able to talk today. But other than that, we're good to go.
it's all good, man. It's all good.
I'm like, mouth, just work. Can you just work today, mouth? Like, what
I
is
could
going
tell,
on?
like I could see it, and like I, I do the same thing. And after like the second or third word, it's you're sitting there like, I swear I can talk today. I swear I know how to do this.
My
Speaking
usual
of
go to
things,
is it Friday yet?
Yeah, yeah.
speaking of things it can't help us with yet. Uh, no, I think this is like such a good topic and why like critical thinking and like the way that you learn and grow right now is going to be the same way that it's going to greatly impact how AI like supports you or empowers you um, to grow and learn moving forward. Uh, in an example, I was showing like so I've got uh, a couple of Spanish speakers coming into the house next week, and they're going to be around or this week, and they're going to be around for a while, and you know previously, uh, we're both in the same situation where we can understand the other language, but it's really hard to converse like with each other in that language. So, you have WhatsApp and you have Google Translate and you talk into it, it translates, and then you show it to each other and you read it, right? Well, I was testing out the advanced, you know,
Voice
um,
mode.
voice
Yep.
mode.
Yeah.
I still need to work with you, Nico, on the exact like prompt I need to give it so it doesn't get confused on who's talking and when it should translate and things like that. But I was putting it out on the table at lunch, and the immediate one of the immediate responses was like, "Oh, well, now you don't have to learn Spanish."
Right.
And I was like, "Well, kinda." But for me, it's likely going to help me learn Spanish faster,
There you go.
Well,
right?
yeah, because you're hearing it and hearing it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Like,
and I'm using, yeah. And
I
that's
think
how
I
many
think it's
things
definitely
are
true.
like that, where there's definitely going to be people, it's like, okay, yeah, I've got that. I don't need to engage my mind right now. Like,
Right.
for better or worse, I can never, like, not engage my mind. So it's like, whatever's happening in front of me, I'm trying to take something away from it and build on it. And, um, which also means I'm constantly focused in the present moment. So this, like, doing that, being able to do that while also having everything documented while it happens. It's just
Yeah.
like
oh,
amazingly powerful right now because documentation and review and reflection, like that's one of my biggest areas of weakness. And since that's happening in the moment, it's just like, man.
so I love where you're going with this, Chris, because the fact that it's being documented, but I would even say it's documented in a way that you can then iterate on it, right? So, like, one of the
Yeah.
things that I'm loving right now, again, bringing the superhuman framework to the world and what that looks like from like content creation and assets and being able to create that is then documented to that then I can listen or read and then iterate and recreate, and the recreate is documented. And so all of a sudden you start to get these layers on top of the thing. But what's crazy is while you're bringing something to the world because you're trying to teach what's inside of you, you're also learning from what's coming out of the creation process. And so not only are you layering and iterating on the thing you're creating, you're iterating and layering on you, the human, the new information that you're providing and bringing. It's You have to have a learner's mindset. You have to
You
be
definitely do.
curious. You have to be willing to test everything. You have to be willing to iterate. You can't fall in love with your baby. You have to be able to pivot. Like,
Yeah.
like this, these are the types of humans that we have to be creating ourselves into to move forward into the future where we're going.
Yeah. And I mean, I love I love that you're trying to push things in a direction in terms of like you mentioned with prompting and like and getting better at it. I was thinking about the fact that like yeah, we haven't really thrown out any prompting tips at this point, but
Oh, we should
I
do
also
that.
I think about it and it's definitely yeah, like I think we definitely should, but it's that the type of tips that I'm going to give out are not going to be what you would expect. So in other words, like I'm not really going to give you a prompt so much as
Beautiful.
I will give you like a way of working it, right? So for, Chris's purpose in particular just kind of reminds me that when you're giving directions, there's two ways of doing it. You can, give direction, right? And you can tell the person what they're supposed to do. Or you can give direction and tell the person what they're supposed to do and what they should avoid.
Yeah.
So if you've been working with these models and you do that and you tell them it's a complex, the more complex the task is, the more this applies. But if it's a complicated task where there's multiple steps involved, absolutely give it a shot where you're telling it, hey, I need you to do this and I need you to get this done and do this thing and make sure that this is like this. But I want you to make sure you're not doing this. I want you to avoid doing this and I want you to keep away or, make sure that you're not doing this,
Oh,
right?
one of my favorite things to do is Please stay away from bullet points unless they are extremely needed to add educational value. Stay in paragraph style, in conversational tone, educational, and have a little fun along the way. Man, the stuff that comes out anyway. Like, dude, I would love to have like prompting pieces in here because, and not like, hey, here's a fish, but
Mm.
like, hey, here's a rod, a reel, and a tackle box for so you can go catch some dope fish with your AI tool over the next day, week, month, whatever. Like that, I think that would be so valuable to the people listening. And if you agree, by the way, listeners, hit us up. Let us know. Like we're here to build a show that you feel comfortable with, valued, all of that good stuff.
Don't
And
forget
we are
that the
here.
easiest way. So, go ahead. I was gonna say the
Oh
easiest way
man.
that you can do that, guys, is what? Wake up with
Ask.
Wake
AI.
up with AI.
Oh!
All right, we got there.